This is a short demonstration of how to use the timeliner portion of this. The timeliner is simply a sort of a model simulation of how possibly the building or the facility is going to be built. And it's a little nice add-on where again you can provide somebody with an animation, an owner or a client with an animation to sort of show how this model might unfold. We're going to do this in a real coarse way. Essentially what I have here is a structural model, and what I want to do first of all is I want to go to sets, and I want to say manage sets. So I had my selection tree open, but what I'm going to do is put in certain sets. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to hold down the control key, and in here I'm going to go up to select. I'm going to hold down the control key, and I'm going to highlight certain elements of this model, and I'm like highlighting now all the piers, and the piers they're in the structural set, the selection tree, but I'm just going to highlight some of these individually. And after I get done highlighting those, I'm going to go over to the sets window. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say add current selection, and it allows me to type in a name. I'm just going to say piers. I'm going to do the same thing again in a coarse way. I'm going to highlight like the first floor, the foundation floor, and I'm going to go over to sets, and I'm going to say add current selection, and I'm going to say first floor. Then what I'm going to do, the other way you can do this is, let me close this out on the selection tree. I can highlight a whole set of things like the columns here. Now that includes the piers again, but again I'm just doing this for demonstration. So with that highlighted, I can go over to the sets window and say add current selection, and I can just say columns. I can, after that, I'm going to rotate this down a little bit just so I can see this. I'm going to go up to the select button. I'm going to select pieces of the second floor. Okay, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say add current selection. I'm going to say second floor. And then finally I'm going to add pieces of the third floor up here. And just to do something, and I'm going to say add current selection third floor, and then I'm going to come over to my selection tree, and I'm going to put in, highlight the beams, and I'm going to say add current selection. I'm going to put in beams. Okay, so I've got different sets that I've highlighted now. I'm going to go over to the timeliner, open that up. I'm going to be in the task pane down here. I'm going to go down to the gray area. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say auto add task for every set. So I've created these 6 sets. I'm going to auto add for every set. Now what you'll notice here is that, like today, what I'm doing is, this is actually June 12th, and so what it's going to do is it's going to put in all these tasks, and it's going to just default into 1 day long task. Now again, you can go to this planned pane, and you can change planned start, you can change this around, you can open this up and planned end date, so you have the ability to change that. I'm not going to do it right now, but it's basically defaulting that it lays all this stuff out in 1-day increments, but you can change that around. So these are planned activities since this is happening in the future. My peers are going to get started on the 13th, first floor on the 14th, and so on and so forth. Okay? You'll notice here that they do skip over weekends. So anyway, then I go to simulate. Settings here, the only thing, since these are planned activities, you got to make sure that the plan button is clicked on. Alright? And then you should be able to, I'll pull this down a little bit, you should be able to run your simulation. And again, we're doing this in a course fashion, but you can sort of see how this works. And there it goes, the second floor. I think the third floor will come on, and then all the beams will come on. So again, that's sort of your simulation. If you want to output this to a video file, upload it to YouTube, you go to the output button, you'd hit animation. The only thing you got to make sure is on the source you've got timeliner simulation clicked on. And then typically, since this is a actual movie, you want Windows AVI clicked on. So you can do that. You can save this to your desktop if you want. And if you come up here to a desktop, you can run your simulation, and you can see that's basically what you're going to be getting. And again, you have the ability to sharpen this up, to sharpen the resolution up, but that's basically what you're doing. So